Hello and welcome to the RPG Blender, where we give lesser played games and forgotten settings the roll the dice they deserve. I'm your host, Game Master George, and today we're going to be taking a look at another delivered Kickstarter project. Today we'll be looking at Crypt of the Devil Lich, a brutal dungeon crawl adventure for Dungeon Crawl Classics. This is another well-funded game, bringing in $128,000 when only asking for $10K. So if you're ready for some brutal dungeoneering action, let's kick it back to past George to actually open this sucker up, and then I'll give it a read and tell you what I think. But before we talk about this incredibly deadly Kickstarter that you missed, let's talk about one that you haven't yet. Well, that you didn't if you're watching this within the first 2 weeks. If it's after that, well, here's another one you missed. Vast Grimm is a spacefaring game based on Merc Borg. And yes, it is as dark and deadly as the pedigree suggests. In this game, you play as a human out in the wide galaxy that has been almost entirely devoured by parasitic space worms. Live out the last days of your life in this dying universe, jetting about in a desperate bid to survive the ravenous squiggly ones. But now, Infinite Black is kickstarting not 1, not 2, but 3 expansions for this game. Blood Altered gives an adventure to save a scientist from a sacrificial cult of they, as well as expanded character options. Space Cruisers brings in Starship content, including creation, combat, and more places to visit with your zippy new toy. And Space Raiders includes new classes, alternate groups to join in Raider factions, and a hex crawl adventure through the graveyard. You can grab any or all of these books, plus the core, through the Kickstarter, currently running through February 17th. And if you back it using the link in the description, you'll be helping out the channel as well. Alright, so here we have the package for Crypt of the Devil Lich. I'm excited to see this. So let's open this up and see what we got. And box goes away. This took a substantially long amount of time to come out, so it looks like they've included a discount code for their website, so that's nice. It has a very short turnaround on use, however, but it is applicable to almost all items at goodmangames.com. Nice little touch to make up for a slow Kickstarter. Ooh, Goodman's Game Gazette. What do we have here? Crypt of the Devil Lich is a seminal work in the history of Goodman Games, both as an adventure module and a convention event. As an adventure, each encounter is explicitly designed to kill PCs, bringing the question of player skill back to the fore. Okay, so this is a very nice newspaper-style guide to the game. Guide to the history of it, at least. Cool. Alright, I like it. Okay, so what do we have here? We have Crypt of the Devil Lich. And then we've got all the bonuses down here. Yep. Cool. Oh my goodness. Let's start out with the big boy. Crypt of the Devil Lich. As you can see, it's the Dungeon Crawl Classic rule set. Retails at $70. So this is the Crypt of the Devil Lich in this nice little box. Got over here, Edge, DCC RPG edition. Oh, that's beautiful. I love that. Look at that. Oh, that foiling is delightful. I'll try to get a closer picture of this to show you the little pixelized foil bits in there that are making this just beautiful, vicious DCC dungeon crawl. So then in here, ooh, that was a little hard to get out. We have the Crypt of the Devil Lich, tastefully censored. Oh, ooh, very nice, very nice. We've got that glossy finish. It definitely sticks to my fingers a bit. But since it's not staying on my shelf like this, I'm not worried about it sticking to other books as I pull out. The box is going to be preventing that from happening. But then what just got me as I open this up, oh, yes, the binding allows this to sit perfectly flat with that cover open. That's wonderful. The paging, not so much, but I can easily just rest my hand on the page over there in order to keep it open. Very nice. Now, inside the book itself, the pages... Oh, visit this product page on Drive-Thru-RPG and use this coupon code below to receive a free PDF of this adventure. Yes, I will have censored that out, of course. Now, the pages themselves... Oh, uh-oh. Okay, no, that's just because it's being pulled a little bit. And you notice it because of the black printing on the page, but the page itself is being pulled as I pull on this, which is allowing that little white streak through, which isn't great, but it's a pretty common thing with books. It's got that rough finish to it, but it is substantially thick. I do feel like these pages will probably rip pretty easily. As long as you take care of your book and are turning it with care, I feel like the nice thickness of this book is going to help a lot. Book itself, high quality. I like it. Oh, and we have one of my favorite things, which is necessary for a giant campaign like this, or a big adventure like this. Oh, we get two. Oh, I love them. We get two of these nice little silk bookmarks, and I'm happy with it. We'll talk about the game itself a little bit later. But for now, let's take a look at what else I got. Now we have a 3-pack of Small Adventures, Sailors of the Starless Sea. I actually ran this one, I think, as a... Yes, I did. I actually ran this as a little one-shot adventure for my players. It was quite nice. They all died in the end. It was lovely. I don't think that'll ever actually release the recording of that. It was an audio-only recording of a tabletop-focused game, so I can't really say that it would be terribly interesting to listen to, but I do highly recommend this adventure when you're looking for a funnel for your players. And we have Frozen in Time. Nice quality. They've got a well-printed cover. The pages themselves feel much like what was in here. Maybe a little bit thinner, but they're still nice. And then we have Hole in the Sky, another level 0 adventure. This one I'm not familiar with. So I will take a look at this one and insert my opinions when I talk about Crypt of the Devil Lich itself. Then we have The Chained Coffin, a level 5 setting and adventure anthology. The Chained Coffin. Ooh, whoa, that flips nicely on my little RPG Blender giant mouse pad. Available somewhere. I don't care. You don't have to buy my stuff. It's just a mouse pad with my logo on it. No one wants that. Whispered voice calls from a coffin bound in chains, urging the heroes into the depths of the Shudder Mountains, a place rife with superstition and forlorn secrets. In the shadowy pine-grown valleys of the deep hollows lurk mysteries of a bygone age, and a new evil emerging from the ruins of the past. Nice. 8 adventures starting from level 5. Oh, wait, does this have a... Oh, no, not starting at level 5. A level 5... Okay, that's bad wording. So it ends you at level 5. 8 complete adventures, enough to take characters from a level 0 funnel to level 5. So you end at level 5. A giant compendium? Is that purposefully a misspelling of compendium? Nope. They just spelled the word compendium wrong in the table of contents. Cool. That's not great editing, but you know what? Things slip through occasionally. So we've got a level 0 funnel adventure, a level 1 adventure, a level 1 to 2, a level 3, another level 3, 4, and then 5. And finally, the level 5 adventure of this story of the Chained Coffin. Cool. I'll take a look at this and insert my opinions later when we talk about this actual content. And then we've got a few more of these little booklets. Alright. Well, let's take a look at the paper first. I got wasted by the Devil Lich. Stickers to give to your players. I hate stickers, but in this context, I like stickers. Alright, so we've got Crypt of the Devil Lich, the Lost Level. Unlocks the design of an additional level to Crypt of the Devil Lich. Level 9 encounters. Cool, so this is just a little extra bit for the Crypt of the Devil Lich. Tournament pre-gens booklet. Cool. Very useful. They are not easily removable, and they're not easily photocopyable because of the binding. I wish that this was a folder without the staple, and then you could just remove it. This is 5e. 5e. Wait. Was I given the 5e version? Are there 5e and DCC in the same book. 5e, 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 5e. Okay, there we go. I'm just dumb. I do like the DCC character record sheet. It's so much nicer than the 5e. Look at this. The stylization, being able to fit everything on one page. Wonderful. That's why I wasn't even noticing it, because it's so... because it needs so much less room, since it doesn't need 2 pages per character. The designer diaries. So this is something that would definitely be interesting to read through, getting a view into the mindset of the decoy cover for Crypt of the Devil Lich, the complete guide to Koboldkin. Nice. Then there's the player handout booklet. Again, not easily removable. There's no perforations to easily take things out. But this does lay down nice and flat, so it's easier to photocopy. I do wish that these were all like contained in a little envelope with them being individually cut out rather than being in a booklet, as that would make it a heck of a lot easier to pick up and use. I'm sorry, what? That's disturbing. But I understand why you would do it this way. Oh, then we've got this poster. Maybe I'll finally decorate my room down here a little bit and include my "I got wasted by the Devil Lich" poster. Ooh, but which one's better? Which Devil Lich is better? Ooh. Let me know in the comments, which Devil Lich picture do you like better? We've got this classic, and this delightfully disturbing bit of artwork. I don't know which I like better. Let me know in the comments. And that is everything that we got in the Kickstarter for Crypt of the Devil Lich. Now I'll kick it over to Future George to tell you what I think of the actual content. Thank you, Past George. I cannot wait to see just how much you missed. Alright, let's start by taking a look at the smaller adventures included in what I got. First up is Frozen in Time. This is a very fun adventure for science fiction fans. There are small references and a well-crafted atmosphere of unfamiliar descriptions to otherwise familiar things. Frozen in Time sees your characters delving into a time traveler's abandoned hideout deep within a glacier in the savage north. The concept leads to a variety of fun and interesting encounters, and leaves the door open to a potential game taking place in the past, if players should misuse the time travel device. If they don't, however, the T-Rex makes for a fantastic final chase sequence as they try to escape the exploding base. All in all, a great little adventure that I might use at some point. Next up, we have Hole in the Sky. This one is weird. This one dives fully into the more gonzo element of dungeon crawl classics, but it has a concept which is great for a first funnel adventure. The horde of zero-level characters are brought together by dreams, and a strong feeling that they are not living the lives that they were meant to live, that some twist of fate has stolen from them their actual destined lives. This brings them on a weird adventure that starts with them taking a leap of faith off of a cliff to an invisible walkway, walking for days to a literal hole in the sky, avoiding a large jack-o'-lantern creature as they climb their way through the spiky prison to free the creature trapped in the cage at top. It is weird, and I love it. If you're like me and like that gonzo style, then you're gonna like this funnel. But what it does perfectly is the way it wraps it up. Every PC has the choice to spin on a wheel, which will then give the character the fate that they truly deserved. What this does mechanically is give your players a chance to rewrite some of these random characters, and make sure that they're going into your full campaign with one of them that they actually enjoy. A very well done button that leads into any kind of future game. But I do have one unfortunate negative, and that is something that I should have noticed when I was unboxing it. The cover for my copy here is severely incorrectly cut. I don't know how I missed that, probably because I was going through this section so fast. And it is disappointing, as otherwise this is an adventure I love and would love to run. Now, it is just the cover, there's nothing stopping me from running it, it's just disappointing. Sailors on the Starless Sea is one that I have actually run, so I can talk with a little bit of experience here. This is the most basic funnel that you could get. The adventure is nothing terribly out of the ordinary. Villagers rise up to go take out some danger at a local ruin and find far more than they were planning. The set pieces, as you get beyond the main ruins itself, become very memorable, however, and the final encounter atop the pyramid can be a fantastic moment. So while the adventure on the whole is a bit generic, it's a good first step into the concept of a funnel, especially for someone who is new to Dungeon Crawl Classics. And very importantly, there are ample opportunities for restocking on characters if too many of them die. If you are looking for a standard fantasy funnel to run for your group, this is one you should consider. Alright, and that brings us to the larger extra book that we got, The Chained Coffin. This book brings a full-featured Appalachia setting. You get locations, NPCs, new magics, and a section for herbalism mechanics. I love this book for the setting alone. And then, it comes with a bunch of tales set in the Shutter Mountains. Well, sort of. We're gonna get to that. The first adventure that we get is Sour Spring Hollow. This is the level 0 funnel for the Shutter Mountains. The horde of player characters are guests at a wedding, and when they drink the wrong alcohol, they find themselves in a life or death battle against phantoms left from an evil clan that once lived here. It is an interesting idea, very thematic for the area, and comes with a built-in timer that promotes urgency, but it might be just a little too lethal. Now, I have not actually run it, so I can't speak from experience here, but looking at the numbers alone, in the first encounter, you have 6 phantoms with a +1 attack and 1d5 damage. Level 0s with no armor max out at 13 AC and 4 HP. And that is somebody who rolled ungodly well on their 3d6s for stats. The average level 0 is going to get hit on a 9 or higher with their 10 AC, and will just straight up die, as they will have 1 hit point. With 6 phantoms hitting about 50% of the time, you can expect 3 deaths every round, and the phantoms stay for 3 rounds. That means 9 deaths out of the 18 to 24 PCs you started with, and that's on the first encounter. These phantoms then return with more phantoms every so often. Funnels should absolutely be lethal. If every player ends the adventure with only 1 character left, that's perfect. But I do worry that this one is a little too lethal and may not have enough opportunities to inject new characters into the funnel. But I do think with a little bit of tweaking along the way, maybe reducing the frequency of the attacks, you should be able to keep things under control. That brings us to Moonricket Bridge, the level 1 tale. And I'm using tale very generously. This is little more than a side quest. The players arrive at a bridge which is haunted by a ghost. Follow the pointings of the ghost, which leads them down to a mine where they find a body with a ring on it, bring the ring back, and the ghost is gone. That's the extent of it. If you were looking for a level 1 adventure here, you did not get enough. This is something to use as filler in your adventure, but I doubt that it would take up an entire gaming session. And that brings us to the level 1 or 2 adventure, Moon Eyes and Fireflies. The PCs find themselves in the midst of an attack of fireflies, literal fireflies, that are attempting to set a local man's barn and home ablaze. This drives them to delve into nearby caves and challenge the Moon Eyes to try to stop the harassing of this man. Of course, he is not completely innocent. This is a fairly standard dungeon crawl, which you probably expect in a game called Dungeon Crawl Classics, but it does bring in a possible social encounter for the final event. The problem is, it is very easy to lock yourself out of this social encounter. The game presents a simple see monster, kill monster, but if you kill certain monsters or do certain things along the way with little hinting against it, then you will find yourself rolling at extreme disadvantages when it comes to that final event. Still, the flavor of the mine and the story itself elevates this over your normal Greystone dungeon. And that brings us to my favorite tale in this book, Death Among the Pines, the level 3 adventure, and I will fully call this one an adventure. The players find themselves in a mysterious town haunted by a ghost. Yes, ghosts again, but I promise this one is better. This ghost is here because of the machinations of serpent people, invading the town, kidnapping villagers, stealing their memories, and then replacing them, while turning the villagers into horrific serpent men themselves. The entire story is dripping with intrigue, the infiltration of the serpent men, the tragic ghosts, a fair amount of investigation, and lots of skull smashing. There's a bit with fake prisoners that is a great twist for your bleeding heart party. And the possession of a PC is a delightful moment. I love this adventure. And if I ever run a game in the Shutter Mountains, I would absolutely be using this. And this brings us to Woeful Caves under Yander Mountain, another level 3 adventure. This is a vampire story with a twist. The players find themselves delving into another cave, yes, because it's Dungeon Crawl Classics, that's what they do. And the concepts that you find within and backstory given are very interesting, but the implementation is only average. In the end, it becomes a pretty generic dungeon crawl with generic enemies. If all you want is a little dungeon crawl, hey, that's great. But we have seen them be able to elevate their tales above that. So it is disappointing that there's not a little bit more here. Next up is the Grave Pool, a level 4 tale. It's called a tale, but it's a location. It's a pool that can possibly resurrect people thrown in it. It's a useful thing, and there's some cool encounters that are possible in the surrounding area, but calling it a tale is a bit generous. There is no story, no quest. The only thing driving the PCs here would be random chance, or the need to resurrect a party member. And unfortunately, this holds true with our level 5, the Witchman of Darkweather Mountain. Again, it's basically just a setting. At least there is a little bit of story here, with a wizard gone rogue in search of these magical berries which can empower magical spells at some potentially very devastating costs. But in the end, there's little content behind it, so it's a good thing that it is not the main level 5 tale in this book. That, my friends, is the Chained Coffin, a level 5 hex crawl adventure. The PCs find a chained coffin adorned with skulls and ominous imagery, but it claims to be a champion of law, seeking to stop a champion of chaos. This leads to the PCs literally carrying this stone chained coffin along with them, a coffin that can communicate with them. This makes the Chained Coffin an excellent prop and story addition. The story is very interesting and the drive forward is compelling, and you're going to find good combat encounters along the way. But we have to talk about the wheel. One of the major moments is when they need to use what is a fantastic physical prop, the wheel. Players need to arrange the 3 dials in the correct position in order to open the door and make their way inside. The problem is that if they get it wrong, there is a big explosion of energy that threatens to hurl them off the side of the mountain, and there is no way in this adventure itself to find the answer. The answer is hidden back in Woeful Caves under Yander Mountain. In a random location in that adventure, they can find the 3 symbols that they need. But short of that, there is nothing. You can have one clue if there is a cleric of a certain faith, but other than that, it is explicitly called out to be requiring player ingenuity. No dice rolls allowed. It's a guessing game, and one with potentially very lethal consequences. And really, do you want your party dying moments before the climactic fight? No, that's not satisfying for anybody. In all, I think this book is well worth it, even for just the setting. And this brings us to the actual reason we're here. The Crypt of the Demon Lich. Really, George? You messed up the name of the project in the one take we have? It's Crypt of the Devil Lich. Devil Lich. What is this Demon Lich nonsense? If you are familiar with the Tomb of Horrors, then you kind of know what you're getting into here. A murder module meant to challenge the strongest players with brutal encounters and devastating traps. The main difference here is that I feel that this is much more fair than the Tomb of Horrors, and we'll get into why in just a moment. The tomb itself is a 3-level dungeon, each of these levels having about 8 rooms. Now that seems like not a lot of content, but in truth, the dungeon is extremely densely packed. There is a lot of information packed in here, a lot of encounters, and a lot of traps. Each room will take a significant amount of time for a party to get through. The players are tasked with destroying the Devil Lich. They must descend into her tomb of traps, find the sword True Death, and bring about her final destruction. It's a fairly standard setup. There's not much to say there. But this is very much not a pick up and play module. You need to read through this book carefully. And in my opinion, you should do so multiple times. This is very dense with a lot of interconnected moments. If you are not prepared for the entire adventure up front, you are going to miss things. So read the book and take copious notes. Then while your players are struggling to solve the mystery of the rotating room, that's a fun one, review. Take every opportunity when your players are slowing down to make sure that you're ready for what comes next, because it is very easy to get lost in this dense of an adventure. And on to the topic of why I think this is more fair than Tomb of Horrors. While there are gotcha traps throughout this, many of them are significantly signaled throughout the adventure, as opposed to other murder dungeons which just revel in murdering you in unfair ways. If your party is paying attention and being thorough, they should find all the information that they need in order to survive most of the events. Now that said, I probably would not run this except as a one-shot or the very, very last thing that's going to happen in a campaign. It is a high-level murder dungeon, and players tend to get attached to their characters by that point. And make no mistake, it is unlikely that you will make it out of this adventure without player deaths, so be ready with extra sheets. But in the end, it does what it does very well. I would probably choose to run this over the Tomb of Horrors. And now just a quick note on the Lost level. It is more of the same. 9 rooms densely packed with details and danger. If you like the Crypt of the Devil Lich, there is nothing to not like about this extra level. But one room I want to call attention to is the chess room. Rather than needing to do the typical winning a game of chess, all they need to do is make it to the end. But that is harder than it seems. Disintegrations abound, because knights are confusing. I love this event, and it became a highlight of my read of the Crypt of the Devil Lich in general. And that is it. Crypt of the Devil Lich rewards unboxed and reviewed. Am I happy? Yes. Yes, I am. While the actual Crypt of the Devil Lich is the obvious highlight, I think I will actually get the most use out of the chained coffin. Sadly, the severe misprinting of the cover of Hole in the Sky is a bummer, but I hear they're pretty good about replacing those, and even if they don't, at least the content is right. I can live with a bad cover. Anyway, I've got a bunch more Kickstarters to get through, but they're smaller, so I'm going to be cramming them together into a larger video. I don't want to be doing these for weeks and weeks and weeks. And again, if you want to check out another, why not check out our unboxing of the Avatar RPG, or maybe our tutorial on the equally brutal Merkborg. Anyway, thank you again, and remember, there's gaming outside the Forgotten Realms.